Hey everybody, this is Matt, and in today's video I have for you some content that I haven't done in a really, really long time. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG content. That's right. I've been barely posting. I've been barely active, and the few times that I was active this last year has been for Master Duel content. Well, I'm back playing the TCG baby because, unfortunately, as some of you may know, the format Master Duel has been pretty much, you know, dog shit for like a really long time. And the TCG is actually quite good. And although people complain that TCG is still like floodgates turbo because we just had a YCS, Anaheim, where a lot of decks out there just like turboed out lingering floodgates like Artifact Mjolnir or whatever. It's still an objectively better format than the format that we have on Master Duel. So until Co Money limits or does something, and yeah, I saw the latest ban list with Master Duel. It is not enough. But yeah, until Konami actually does something real, I'll be playing mostly TCG. Honestly, maybe I'll dabble a little bit of Master Duel, especially if Odion comes out. But anyway, if you're watching this video, you probably already read the title. Yeah, I'm doing for you a deck profile, and we have an undefeated Odion deck profile. And this, I guess they also call it Tombkeeper, but I think that's a cringe name. I think Odion is just we called these Shizu cards. These are just Odion, right? If you know the anime, you know what's up. So if this is a Odion list, why do I have two blue eyes here? Well, funny enough, so this is my second week back in physical Yu-Gi-Oh, like actually playing physically. I went to locals last week and I played Primite Odion. Now, for those of you who don't know or haven't heard, YCS Lille, the European YCS that happened was like a week and a half ago or whatever, or 2 weekends ago. The winner of that YCS was an Odion deck. Specifically, they called it. Well, I've been calling it Primite Odion. I think the broadcasters called it Primite Apophis. And then on the actual deck profile for the guy who actually won the event, he called it Primite Control, or maybe it was Barrel Control. Either way, I literally took that exact deck list that won the YCS Lille. I reconstructed it. I took it to my locals last week twice, my Monday locals and my Wednesday locals, and I got like steamrolled in both locals. The first locals, I won only one game and I lost like three. Yeah, I basically went 1-3 in both days, right? Like only one victory, the rest all losses. And even my one victory was a 2-1 victory over my opponent. And the so on Monday, that Monday I got the 2-1 victory against Magis's Draco Tail, and then on Wednesday I got I got a 2-0 victory against some rogue like ritual Fire King deck, and I basically got 0-2 swept like every other game. So I really really did not like that deck profile. Like I know he won a YCS with it. I think that like that was a lightning in a bottle type deck where he won because a combination of uh he made the correct meta read and meta call, and he just like drew all the cards he needed when he needed it. Uh Last week, so despite suffering through that miserable locals experience, I managed to pull an ultimate rare Blue Eyes White Dragon from the OTS pack last week. So this is my consolation prize. I paid my entry fee to play locals last week. I barely won anything, but I did manage to get this bad boy, the ultimate rare Blue Eyes, which I guess is like $100 card or something. And to add to the cherry on top, this week I returned to my locals. This is my Monday locals. I said, "Fuck that Primite Odion deck. I'm just gonna build pure Odion the way I want to play it, right? The way I think the deck is better played." And I went undefeated. And by undefeated, I mean I literally did not drop a single game. So this is like the best. So today I just got back from the locals. Was the best day, like since I started playing Paper Yu-Gi-Oh again. And despite winning, like sweeping everybody 2-0, I pulled another Ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon from the OTS pack. Now, yeah, so that's like $200 worth of cards here that I got lucky on. And the funny thing is, I actually get very lucky on Blue Eyes cards in general. Case in point, remember a long time ago when Ghost of the Past, where it was a set that was coming? I think it was like the second Ghost of the Past set. I bought a case of that set. If you recall the unboxing video, you can go back and watch it. I pulled 1 Ghost Rare Blue Eyes White Dragon and 2 Ghost Rare Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So I've been extremely lucky with Blue Eyes pulls for whatever reason. God only knows, right? And at the same time, remember like the one of those quarter century stampede, maybe it was the 25th anniversary tins. I also have 3 quarter century secret rare Blue Eyes White Dragons from the 25th fifth anniversary tins of the original Kaiba artwork. So sitting in my binder right now, I have 3 QCRs Blue Eyes, 1 Ghost Rare Blue Eyes, and not yet in my binder, but soon will be in my binder, 2 Ultimate Rare Blue Eyes. So I'm a Blue Eyes enjoyer. I did play I briefly played Paper Yu-Gi-Oh, like TCG Yu-Gi-Oh. What was it? The beginning of the year after the structure decks came out, and then like when Primite Blue Eyes was meta, right? I did play that. However, I never went undefeated at any locals. I never downright got first place at any locals with that deck build, so I never put out a video because I didn't feel comfortable enough to do so. But I'm comfortable now because I went got first place and I went undefeated. So it's like not dropping a single freaking game. And before anyone says, "Oh, you won the dice rolls," no. I only won 1 dice roll. I went second, first game 1, every other game. And by the way, I really hate that misinformation. People will be like, "Oh, the Primite Odion guy, Diego at YCS Lille, he only won because he won 17 dice roll." That is fake news. There's no verifiable actual source of information verifying that to be the case. So stop repeating this lie, please. Really, like it's just misinformation. And honestly, what it sounds like is it sounds like a butthurt meta slave, like combo player who lost to a freaking rogue deck and wanted to just cope with it. It's just hard copium, right? There's no evidence that actually happened. So please stop repeating that lie. This deck is fine going second. I mean, going second in Yu-Gi-Oh right now is just ass. It's just really bad. If you watch YCS Anaheim in top 8, like almost every duel in top 8 was like the turn 2 player literally didn't even play, right? They played 0 cards, right? Um, yeah, so it was basically whoever won the dice roll plays solitaire with themselves into scoop. Then the other player goes first, plays solitaire with themselves into scoop. So again, regardless of what deck you're playing, that's just the way modern Yu-Gi-Oh is. And for those of you asking, will I be getting to Genesis? Absolutely, I'll be getting to Genesis. Genesis is one of the best things to happen to Yu-Gi-Oh in a very long time. So I will absolutely be getting Genesis. Unfortunately, none of my locals yet have Genesis events. I've only done very mild playtesting of Genesis on Dueling Book. Dueling Book is like the only tool right now that supports it. I think what Yu-Gi-Oh! Mega said they were going to support Genesis, but for whatever reason, they haven't actually implemented it yet. Regardless, yeah, so I will be playing Genesis, and yeah, I have been testing some Labyrinth, Eldritch, and Odion deck lists. Even though Labyrinth is slightly gated by high cost engine cards, I think it's actually still playable. Odion is just like the best deck in Genesis. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it got hit on a point update very soon. But yeah, so I'm playing pure Odion in the TCG. This deck list that I'm about to show you is a deck that I used to accomplish that, and it's not the deck list that I've been playtesting online. I was playtesting another list, and I'll show you what changes to the list I made um, last minute before I went to locals, and then I'll discuss whether those changes were worthwhile or not. Anyway, let's tuck these blue eyes away. I just wanted to show these off because these are so freaking nice. All right. And before anyone asks, my sleeves, double sleeved. Inner sleeve is some like whatever plastic Chinese sleeve company. Outer sleeves are Dragon Shield. This is matte gold and this is matte black. Right. The reason I went with gold and black, again, I like to color code my decks based on the theme of the deck. Right. So if you recall Eldritch, I went gold red because Eldritch art there's a lot of gold and red. Labyrinth, I went silver with white because there's a lot of silver and white in Labyrinth art. Odion has a lot of blacks, golds, and purples. So I went with gold and black because I think gold, purple, black, purple would look. Black purple is basically my Dark Magician. I went black purple Dark Magician deck, so I didn't want to do black purple again. So gold purple, gold black, I think feels the most right for this deck. So anyway, let's start off with the main deck. Start off with our Odion engine. we have 3 copies of the Man with the Mark. This is your primary starter. It's your normal summon. Um, this card is like really good. The thing about Odion deck, unlike other decks like when I played Labyrinth, when I played Eldritch, other trap decks, is that even though it is technically a trap deck, it actually plays more like a mid-range / combo deck in the sense of so you know how in my previous deck profiles I always advocated if you're playing a trap deck, the magic number for ratios is 2. You play 2 of everything because a lot of cards are hard ones per turn. You don't want to see more than 1 copy. You want to see 5 non once per turn cards, right? And then you just build a board off those 5 cards, like whatever board you want. With Odion, because of the way the deck operates, you actually want to see the starters as much as possible. The starters and the extenders, right? The engine cards as much as possible. Because you don't just set 5 pass, like what 5 you set actually matters, right? And also because of the way Temple of the Kings works, which is a critical part of this deck, Temple of the Kings takes up a back row slot, which means that you only, in a lot of cases, you're only setting 4, not 5. So you kind of want to use the Odion engine to do what it like when this TCG archetype was first announced. I did try to make it more like my Eldritch or Labyrinth deck, where I had a bunch of traps like back row, like good for going second, right? Darumas, Solemn Strikes. The problem is I found I had no room in my back row, and the reason for that is because your engine via man just sets up like 4 back rows just off of 1 card, and then you have all these other cards in hand that are just sitting in your hand doing nothing a lot of times. So yeah, I really couldn't build Odion the way that I previously built Labyrinth or like Trap Labyrinth or like Trap Eldritch, right? Anyway, let's talk about Man. Man with the Mark. He has 2 effects. Most people forget his second effect, but it's arguably like the more important one. First effect. So this is a spellcaster, by the way, level 4. This card is normal summon, special summon. Take a Temple of the Kings or 1 spell trap that mentions it from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. This is hard once per turn. So yeah, you know, the sense of the graveyard part is does come up sometimes. When you're comboing this with Anubis, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, the second effect says, while you control Temple of the Kings, this card and Apophis monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle card effects, and Temple of the Kings you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So this kind of adds an innate protection to your traps and your temple. Not so different from Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Obviously, it does not protect face down cards, but the fact that it protects the face up ones is probably good enough. Also, a lot of times, like if you just sit on man, like I mean, obviously you'll summon him in attack position, but maybe at some point he'll go into defense position, or maybe he gets Book of Moon, right? Or Yummy flips him face down, so because they don't want you to make Typhon or whatever. If they let's say you set up Temple, if they attack your man in defense position, he can't be destroyed by battle while Temple is on the field. So, yeah, a lot of decks, especially the meta ones, like they don't expect that interaction. But they go in the battle phase expecting to OTK you, and then they can't break your board. You just have like a wall, right? And then you just survive another turn. Or they can't OTK if you're in attack position. They need 1,000 on top of every attack position monster they have, right? In order to beat over this several times to get to 8,000 damage, and oftentimes it doesn't happen. Yeah. So yeah, this is sometimes just having man on the field is fine. Sometimes I'll link him away or Xyz him away, but yeah, don't be afraid to just sit on man on the field. Like if he gets impermed and then you have no other lines and then you just have like a few back row, like honestly, just sitting on man is fine. Like he's not if you have temple or treasures, he's not going to be destroyed, and then you have follow for the next turn probably. So 3 copies of man. Yeah, he's your normal summon. Just play it right. 3 copies of Anubis, the Last Judge. Anubis just says search man, basically. This is a level 10. By the way, these are all Earths, right? Earth Spellcaster, Earth Fiend. So these can be super poly, but they cannot be only into like Mud Dragon / Garou, not into like Predaplant. And they can't get Bestial because they're not darks, right, or lights, right? So it's good that these are Earths. I like that we have a trap deck that's Earth based rather than like Labyrinth, which is dark based. Also means we can't like easily run viruses, but it's fine. Let's read Anubis. Anubis has 2 effects, actually 3 effects. So level 10, 3000 attack. This card reads, cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand or graveyard while you have 3 or more cards in your graveyard with different names that are either Temple of the Kings or they're traps. So you take 2 of them and put them at the bottom of your deck in any order. So that's one effect, right? So this is an innate summon, and this is not once per turn. If he's in your hand or in your graveyard, you can summon him by shuffling traps back to your deck. And you can do that multiple times in a single turn, as long as you have traps in your graveyard and, to meet the condition. The second effect, probably the more important effect that's gonna come up more. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Add 1 mana of the mark from your deck to your hand. So this only searches this guy. I wish it searched more targets. I wish it could search Scorpion, or Field Spell, but alas, this would be really good if it could also search your other cards. But it's fine. Searches man. And the third effect, which does not come up often, but don't forget about it. If a spell trap cards you control is destroyed by card effect, you can target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. You can only use each effect. Yeah, so these last 2 effects are once per turn. This doesn't come up often, but it does sometimes, the third effect. But yeah, 3K beater, just good at like OTKing, right? So yeah, I think 3 of, because you want to maximize your engine. This is your main engine piece. This is your normal summon, right? We're running 1 copy of Merciless Scorpion of Circuit. So this card is an extender, and it can be a combo piece / starter if and only if you have a few of the other pieces. So let's explain. Cannot be normal summon set, must first be special summoned from the hand by banishing 1 level 10 or higher monster from your hand or deck. This is level 10, by the way. So this is why we want to run 3. Sometimes you want 1 in hand, but you definitely want 1 in your deck. Banish it to summon Scorpion. The summon effect is not activated, so they can't negate it with like Herald the Arclight. So if you have this in hand and you somehow have Temple and they have a Herald the Arclight, you can banish Anubis, you summon this and attack Herald, right? Obviously they'll try to interrupt you, but yeah, it's an inherent summon. And it can only be special summoned once per turn this way. Once per turn during the main phase, this is a slow ignition effect. You can add a Temple of the Kings or 1 spell that mentions it from your deck to your hand. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, so on your turn or their turn, you can use this effect. Pop the opponent's monster. This monster gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack. So, the pop effect, the inherent summon is once per turn. The search is once per turn. The pop effect is not once per turn. So if they have a yummy board trying to OTK you, the yummies try to attack into this, you can pop all of them, right? So if they do that, they won't attack you, right? But they have to negate or get rid of this card. So yeah, this is very good at stopping OTKs if you're just sitting on it. So just more walls. Like, this is a wall with treasures. This is also a wall. Yeah. Yeah. So very good card. We're playing 3 copies of the field spell, Treasure of the Kings. So Treasure of the Kings is a really cracked field spell. This card reads, when this card is activated, add 1. You can set an Apophis trap from your deck. This card's name becomes Temple of the Kings while in the field zone. So it fulfills a condition for man to be protected. Fulfills a condition of this to summon itself. And then the second effect says once per turn, if you have 2 or more set cards on your field or a trap in your graveyard, you can add 1 monster that mentions Temple of the Kings from your deck to your hand. You only activate 1 treasure per turn. So this is technically a soft once per turn. What do I mean by that? So it says you can only activate 1 of these once per turn. Yes. So you could activate from hand, set from deck, activate effect to search, right? That's once per turn. However, let's say it's a subsequent turn. Let's say we're in a simplified game state, turn 3 or whatever. Let's say you draw another one of these. On your turn, you can use this to search a monster, activate a new one, set from deck, and then use it again to search another monster. So it's soft once per turn. So a lot of players forget that. Also, you can add a monster if you have a trap in the graveyard. So a lot of people don't know what the Odion deck does. If you're like your opponent probably won't know, but if they do know, they probably know. Oh, you need 2 set cards to use this. Most people forget. Oh, actually, instead of having 2 set cards, you can have 1 trap in the graveyard. That's enough to fulfill this condition. So yeah, 3 copies of treasures, and then of course 1 copy of terraforming because this is just a 4th copy of treasures, and we have the prismatic uh, collector's rare terraforming. Um, so these 4 cards are starters and extenders. These are starters, and these are engine piece slash a conditional extender, right? Um, we have your brick, quote unquote, which is Temple of the Kings. So typically, the way the line works, actually, I'll get to the line in a second. While this so Temple of Kings, so this is a Starlight Rare from the Megaton. This says while this is face up on the field, continue to spell. You can activate 1 trap card the turn it will set. You can send 1 Mystic Beast of Circuit. Actually, the other abilities don't matter because we're not running Mystical Beast of the Circuit. Yeah, so main thing this says is what Temple of the Kings by name. So let's say you hard open Temple of the Kings with Circuit. If you hard open these 2 in your hand and you have no other cards, activate Temple, and then you can banish Anubis to summon this. This gets you treasures. Treasures sets you Apophis and then gets you man. So uh even though this is kind of technically a brick, it can be a combo piece if and only if combo with like a few other cards. So Temple plus Merciless Scorpion of Circuit is full combo, by the way. Um, yeah, this card is really good because it allows you to use your Apophis traps on the same turn you set them, going first, and then you can go into some extra deck plays. All right, let's get into your other Odion cards. We have 2 copies of Apophis the Serpent, 3 copies of Apophis the Swamp Deity. So most deck profiles you see online say run 2 and 3. The reason for this is because these cards, this is a once per turn. These are not once per turn. The more of these you see, the better. Technically, you want to see no more than 1 of these in your opening hand, but most of the time you want to be searching this off of other cards. So that's I'll get into the full play later, but just to talk, let's just go talk about the what this does here. So when you activate this, it special itself as a normal monster, and it becomes an Earth Reptile. So 1600 attack, 810 level 4, by the way. And when you activate it, you can set Apophis of Swamp Deity from your deck. And when you set it, it can be activated the same turn. So technically, if you have Temple of Kings, you set this, you activate it, you summon it, you set Apophis, you can activate it and summon it again. You have 2 bodies, right? All on your turn. Let's go over Apophis of Swamp Deity. So this card is only during the main phase, so very important because you can get screwed over in like other phases if you're not careful, especially the battle phase. It says during your main phase, special summon this as a normal monster. It's an Earth Reptile level 6. Then you can negate the effects of face-up cards your opponent control up to a number of other continuous traps you control until the end of this turn. So this is a non-targeted negate of any card, front row, back row. So let's say you only have this card. You activate it, you summon it on your opponent's turn, you set this card, and then when your opponent uses a card, you activate this on the same turn, set it, and negate your opponent's card. So that's typically how these 2 cards work together. Okay. So that is your primary Odion engine. And then we are playing in the main deck 1 copy of Verdict of Anubis. Now, why is this in the main deck instead of my side deck? This card is technically a board breaker going second. And in fact, today at locals, I literally used this. And by the way, this is not the first time this came up, but I literally used this today at locals to break an entire Yummy board going second. And from playtesting this deck online, this often comes up as like I'm going second. My opponent sets up a board. If I can get this set on the field with Temple of the Kings, and I can bait my opponent to use a spell trap card, I can blow out their board with this card. So let's read what this card says. Counter trap card, by the way. When your opponent activates a spell trap card, while you control 3 or more other spell traps, which is very easy in this deck, by the way, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then, if you control Temple of the Kings, you destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, and inflict damage to your opponent equals half the original attack of those destroyed monsters. And this is a hard one to return. So this is not an engine. This is not go into your engine, but this is just like a searchable engine card that is just like so good at just breaking boards, right? This can protect you from back row clear. This can like your opponent sets a bunch of boards, and then halfway through the turn they go through some kind of spell card. Let's think Yummy. Yummy sets up some monsters. Then they use Yummy the field spell or like Yummy a Croaky, activate it. You chain Anubis, you destroy all their monsters and the field spell, or they activate like Yummy Way halfway through their turn, or Yummy Surprise. I mean, activate this, negate Yummy Surprise, blow up their whole board. Yeah, I literally won a game off that. So yeah, these cards are cracked. So ignoring this for a second, I also want to talk about Temple of the Kings. You know how I mentioned Temple of the Kings plus Serpent is full combo. So if you draw none of these other cards, you can actually combo with this, right? This is also true about Temple of the Kings plus Apophis the Serpent. These opening Temple with either of these cards is also full combo, because if you activate this, you can set this, flip it, summon it, set this from deck, flip it, summon it, and then you have two bodies, and then you can go to extra deck plays, which I'll show you later. But basically, you can end on like a pop and two negates, which is very powerful. So yeah, just from that combination. In terms of engine, quote unquote, on average, so what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 one-card starters in a 40-card deck. So 25% of our starting hand will be one of these 10, right? So that means of the 5 starting hands, at least one of them will be this, right? And then you have like 4 half card combo, like 2-card combos basically, where and by the way, opening a Scorpion with the field spell is also a full combo. But I guess or like slash extender. But yeah, so statistically, I would say that on average, me personally, I my opening hand of 5 cards consists of about 2 of these, right? Which is the dream, right? You basically want to see 2 engine and 3 non-engine in most Yu-Gi-Oh matches nowadays, simply because there's so much nonsense to deal with through like your opponent's cards, that having 3 non-engine is probably the dream. If you have 3 engine, 2 non-engine, it's fine, but like it's not as ideal. Yeah, the sweet spot is 2 engine, 3 non-engine. But if you open 1 engine, 4 non-engine, that might also be good, assuming you don't get hand trapped to death by your opponent, like that one and only engine card. So I'll get to the combo at the end of this video, or like you can skip ahead. I have a section on the combo for this deck because it involves the extra deck, and I haven't gone over the extra deck yet. But typically, these 10 cards here, the 1-card card, their goal is to get you to Temple plus Apophis Serpent. This is the goal you want to get. From these 10 cards, you want to set these 2 up, right? Because from these, you can go into your extra deck plays, and from your normal engine, you'll have enough bodies to do more extra deck plays. So really, this is what you're trying to see, right? You're trying to see these 2 cards, and these 10 get to these 2 cards fairly easily. Worst case scenario, if you get hand trapped, you don't see Temple, but you do see Apophis. That's probably fine. That's probably okay, because Apophis sets up at least 1 interruption, and then you have like your other hand traps. Basically, Anubis searches man. Let's say you open only Anubis. Anubis searches man. Man searches field spell. Field spell sets Apophis. You probably have another card in hand you can set. Then field spell searches Scorpion. Scorpion summons itself. Searches Temple. Temple activates. Allows you to activate the Apophis, which sets the other one, and then you can like do some extra deck stuff, right? So again, or you can have man. If you don't have Anubis, man does all that, right? Or if you open just field spell sets Apophis. You set a thing, set another thing. Search man with a field spell. Man can summon, can search Temple of the Kings, right? And then you also end on a similar state. Alternatively, if you open 2 of these, let's say you open treasures plus man, then man doesn't have to search treasures. Man can actually search you Verdict of Anubis, right? But this is the case where like you have man plus field spell in hand, or Anubis plus field spell, and then you get an extra Omni negate on your opponent's turn, which is just dandy, right? Otherwise, if you didn't run this in your main deck, opening these two will not gain you any actual benefit, right? Like you want to be rewarded for having 2 engine pieces that don't get hand trapped by being able to search like a powerful card as like, all right, best case scenario, if I open 2 engine pieces, I can search this and my opponent is giga screwed, right? Like they can't do anything. So yeah, that's why I like having the verdict in the main deck. It's one card. You're very unlikely to brick on it. Going second, it has come up several times for me to break boards, right? I've used it on Draco Tail. I've used it against Yummy. I've used it against Mitsurugi. It's just a good card, right? Just play it. Trust me, it's main deckable. So that's our main engine. So you'll see on average 2 of these, ideally, per game, sometimes per opening hand, sometimes 1, sometimes 3. Very unlikely 4 or 0. Yeah, I think you have enough. Uh, yeah, that's not a problem. Okay, so let's collect these. One other card that's pseudo engine or like slash nice. It's kind of like it is a bit of a brick, but Statue of Anguish pattern. We're playing one of these. Basically, what this card does is this specials itself as an effect monster. It's a Earth Rock, level 7, 2500 defense, and it cannot be targeted by opponent's card effects while you control another trap card that is a monster. If a card is special from your back row to the front row, while this is a monster, you can target a card on the field, destroy it. So technically, and this is not once per turn, by the way. So let's say you open, let's say you have these two, and by the way, this card is searchable off of Silo Hat Rabbit. I'm gonna get which is why it's a one of. I'm gonna get into the extra deck later, but we are running Silo Hat Rabbit. Silo Hat Rabbit can search and set this card. But let's say on your opponent's turn, right? You can activate this, special it. Let's say they activate a field spell or whatever. You can activate this, summon itself, sets Swamp Deity. On summon, this active trigger, pop whatever back row or card your opponent just played. And then on your, if they do more stuff, you can activate Apophis, summon it, negate 2 cards because you have 2 other continuous traps. And then new chain, this pops another card. So this is not a once per turn pop. This is effectively Ryziel Detonator, baby. So this gives you the Ryziel Detonator dream, right? I'll get into like a full board scenario later, and we'll also do some test hands so you can see how like cracked this deck is. So yeah, it's a one of. I typically side this out going second just because like it doesn't really help me break boards or like do stuff on my opponent's turn. So how many cards is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, it's 19 cards. Our next 3 cards are consistency. 3 pots. 1 pot of prosperity, 2 pots of extravagance. Because unfortunately, pot of prosperity is limited. Otherwise, we're running 3 of these because this card is broken. So everyone knows what pot of prosperity does. Banish 6 cards to look at the top 6, and yeah, you always do 6. There's no reason to not do. Yeah, I do have the QCR. This is a beautiful card. Pot of extrav, it's just more consistency. Gets you into engine or gets you into like your non-engine. Yeah, we have our QCR extravagance here. And we have, can anyone recognize this rarity? It's not from the rarities collection. I'll let you pause the video if you want to like take a guess, but this is from the pot collection, right? So Konami did a pot collection like I think a year or 2 ago where they reprinted all the pot cards with this very fancy like collection pot collection rarity. I don't know what it's called, but it's just like a really sick rarity. Anyway, yeah. So consistency, right? So 19 engine / engine adjacent, 3 consistency. That makes what 22. The other 18 cards are all engine / well you'll see in a second / board breakers. So we're running 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Triple Tactics talent. So Call by the Grave is just a busted card. This format because almost every single meta deck uses the graveyard, relies on the graveyard heavily to do anything. Yeah, this is the QCR call by. So let's say you're against Draco Tail. You're trying to play, right? They use Draco Tail 5 mana on you. You chain Call by the Grave, banish Draco Tail 5 mana. They can't fuse for your turn and their turn, right? Let's say you're playing Yummy, right? They use their synchro to tag out to try to get the Snatchy. You chain Call by the Grave, you banish your Snatchy. I mean, they might have a surprise to dodge that, but um, I mean, you try to time Call by the Grave in a good way. Also, the hardest thing this deck has to deal with is Drone Lockbird. It's the hardest hand trap. A lot of people slide it. Some people main it. Just good to have this card against Drone Lockbird. Let's say you're against Mitsurugi, right? They have the Mitsurugi ritual. The one that Raigeki's your board. Harekuno. I don't know what they're called. There's some Japanese name. The big boss monster. You can call by the grave on that. You can call by the grave on the Saji. You can call by the grave on a lot of stuff. Krishron have a lot of graveyard effects. You can call by the grave on that. K9 they have the Lupus. You can call by the grave. This is just a good card. It's a board breaker and it's like, yeah, it's a board breaker and it's a don't mess with me while I'm going first type of card as well. It's just good card. Play it. Uh, also, let's say they have Herald the Arclight. Herald the Arclight tributes itself for cost. You could chain this target Herald the Arclight, and Yummy they don't have any ways of saving Herald because they can't use well Yummy surprise and they can't use the synchro to tag out. So yeah, this is a very good card. Like I think it's just main deckable. Like it is what it is. Triple Tactics talent, unfortunately, it was limited, although it probably should have been limited. This is the Prismatic Collector's Rare. Uh, yeah, actually, waiting for the Ultimate Rare, Prismatic Ultimate Rare to come in the mail because I want to see which one looks nicer. Yeah, this is a going first. You get hand trapped. You can rip a card from your opponent's hand, but more important is you look at your opponent's hand so you know exactly how many interruptions that you need to stop them from playing the Yu-Gi-Oh. Or this, if you don't have, if you haven't drawn enough engine and you're not under the effects of pot, just remember, this prosperity says you can't draw, and this says you also can't draw. So, but if you're not under pot, this can be a draw too if you get hand trapped, and hopefully you can try to get a secondary, that you get an extender, right? Let's say you only have man, you hand trap, man gets hand trapped, you talents, maybe you draw 2 into the field spell, and then you're good to go, right? So yeah, going second, this is a board breaker because uh, it's almost guaranteed they're going to use a monster effect, especially in the main phase, because everything's main phase nowadays. You can use this to steal your opponent's monster, and then immediately make Typhon if you want. Or let's say you're against Draco Tail, you use this to like try to rip 5 mana out of their hands to give them like 5 mana is a huge card for Draco Tail against on your turn. So if you can rip 5 mana out of their hand, like you're so good, right? Like they have to respond and like maybe insta 5 mana or something, or they have to use Draco Tail Flame to negate this. But either way, these are just main deck staples. Honestly, like why would you not play them? I don't know. Like they're just good. All right, so let me paraphrase. I'm not running. Yeah, I guess yeah. These do count as board breakers. Yeah, these are board breakers. Let's get into our actual rest of our cards. These are a mix of hand traps and board breakers. Now, why am I mixing hand traps with board breakers? So we're in a weird format where hand traps don't do enough, and board breakers do. But if you're only on board breakers, your opponent will set up some kind of like degenerate lock on you, like Arch Nemesis Protoss or Artifact Mjolnir. However, one cool thing about this deck is it doesn't care about Protoss because what deck is going to summon Protoss and call Earth monsters? Because all your deck is Earth, like most of your deck is Earth monsters, and like with a few extra deck light monsters, like it doesn't like it would have to be Yummy specifically, like calling lights, right? But like I don't think they're going to call Earths, right? On Protoss, and if they Mjolnir you, Mjolnir stops special summons and not stop normal summons. You can normal summon man, field spell, set up your back row, right? Uh, and then you play on their turn because you're out of the Mjolnir lock on their turn, and then you have man that can't be destroyed while you have temple and treasures, and then you have your back row, right? So I think a combination of hand traps and board breakers are the way to go. However, not just any hand traps, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's got to be the most best going second hand traps you can imagine. So the only hand traps, actually that's not true. So the main hand traps I'm running here are 3 copies of Fualos. This is I'm going second, and maybe my opponent will end their turn. Slash Bait and Ash slash end on a half board, right? This is just good against every single deck imaginable. Like, even if you go first, and let's say this is a dead draw, it doesn't matter. Like, the threat of having this going second on your opponent's turn is so important that it doesn't matter that going first is a brick, right? In fact, it's actually not that big of a brick, as you'll see very soon, because of some of the other cards I have here. 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Yes, I am main decking Droll, and these are the prismatic ultimate version of Droll. I think they look the most slick. Almost every Yu-Gi tuber and their mother is telling you, "Oh, Droll's not good this format. You should side Droll or not play it at all." And because Yu-Gi tubers are saying that, people deck building are not respecting Droll, so they're building a lot of degenerate decks like Mitsu Yummy that does actually play into Droll, by the way, and other decks, but that are not respecting Droll. So you know what I'm saying? It's like game theory. It's like, all right, if everyone is telling you not to play Droll, I'm gonna play Droll because I expect my opponent to not respect Droll or not to expect the main deck Droll, right? Like, it's just a good card, right? Your opponent, you're against Yummy. They open Sky Striker Engage, Droll. They can't use Cupsy. They can't use a Cupsy Way. They can't use a lot of stuff, right? Let's say they Pot of Prosperity, Excavate, Droll. Again, they're locked. Mitsurugi, pure Mitsurugi loves playing Pot of Extravagance. They use Pot of Extravagance. Droll, like, they can't search anymore, right? Granted, again, K9, Chris Ron, they love searching. Droll, right? Like, just play Droll. Trust me, it's just a good card, right? Yeah, and like, this will also deal with just a lot of rogue decks, right? So this is good going first or second. And if your opponent Fualos you, you can draw them on your turn, or you can give them 2 draws. It's up to you, right? Or you can give them no draws, depending on how you play out. Yeah. So again, these are the highest impact hand traps that are more likely to tell my opponent stop playing your turn, right? They'll end on a half board, or they'll just end prematurely. Like, yeah. To me, you should just play high impact hand traps, in my opinion. Like, playing a card like Ash doesn't feel like it does anything. Like, it just doesn't do enough, right? Yummy can play through. Look, Yummy literally doesn't care about Ash, right? Yummy does care about Fualos. They'll end on a half board, but they do care. They will not go into their full board. If you Ash a Yummy player, they will go into their full board. They will completely ignore the Ash. And we're playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. These are also the Prismatic Ultimate Rare. Yeah, because that thing just looks so sicker. Imperm is a great card for several reasons. Number one, it's not once per turn. Fualos is twice per turn. Droll is technically twice per turn. In a sense that, let's say you droll them, they call by, you chain droll, right? Imperm is not once per turn. Number one, it is a trap card, which means if let's say you're going second, you use this on your opponent on their turn. It goes to the graveyard. On your turn, if you have treasures or a way to get the treasures, you now have a trap in your graveyard, which means that, like, you can search this very easily, right? You can get the search off. Also, if you have imperm in the graveyard, let's say you go Anubis to search man, you're already at 1 unique trap card in your graveyard that can be used in the near future to revive back Anubis from the graveyard. So I think imperm is just a good card going second or first, and it's also technically a board breaker. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're against Yummy. If you're against Yummy and they set up their full board, by the way, I don't bother imperming against Yummy, period, on their turn, because if you're familiar how Yummy works, Yummy can dodge card effects by chaining their synchros to tag out, chaining their Snatchy to do a quick synchro. So it's really pointless to imperm on their turn. The best time to imperm, in my opinion, against Yummy is on your turn. You're going second, draw for turn, draw phase, imperm a Snatchy. Just get it negated, right? Or if they have the Herald, you imperm the Herald, right? Like, I think that's just a better use of imperm than trying it on a card that's just gonna dodge it. Like, what's the point of, right? So just say, in my opinion, against Yummy, save imperm. So this is both a hand trap and a board breaker. And since board breakers are great this format, but also it would be good to have some hand traps. You definitely need that. And if you believe your opponent's going to try to FTK you or do some like degenerate stuff, like Ouroboros hand loop or like whatever, you could just use imperm on their turn to stop that, right? It's a good card, right? So yeah, so these are the 9 hand traps that I'm running. So of the 18, 9 are hand traps, 9 are breakers, and technically these qualify as breakers, by the way. All right, let's talk about the remaining cards. We're playing 2 copies of Super Polymerization, 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. These are great meta calls. Super Poly just hits every board. Super Poly on a Yummy board, you can fuse away a Snatchy with a Herald to make Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon in the Swamp has an effect that says that whatever attribute it is, and it can change its attribute, all your monsters can be targeted by the card effects of that attribute. So you Super Poly, let's say, like you draw for turn on against Yummy, they have a full board. On draw phase, Super Poly, fuse Herald with Snatchy, make Mud Dragon, and immediately on summon, use Mud Dragon to call Earth monsters. Because again, all like this is all Earths, and then like your Apophis are all Earths. So Yummy can't target any of your Earth monsters, which means they can't use any of their effects because Yummy has a pop effect targets. They have 2 bounce effects targets, and they have 2 Book of Moon effects also targets. They literally can't interact with your board under. And because you super poly away their Herald, they lose their Omni Negate. So what the fuck does Yummy do if you have a Mud Dragon on the field? Nothing. So you definitely want a super poly here. Super poly also great against Draco Tail. You super poly 2 of their monsters into Secretarion Dragon. Secretarion Dragon says your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon dragon and spellcaster monsters. So it's like a pseudo floodgate against Draco Tail. Super Poly also great against Mitsurugi. They're all darks, very easy to super poly dark monsters. And like yeah, they can't respond. Yeah, it's just like a good, it's just a good card. Why am I running 2? I couldn't really fit a third, but also I don't really want to fit a third. Like I kind of want to see one of these in my opening hand at most. I very rarely want to see 2 of them. Yeah, this is not once per turn, so technically you could do double super poly, but then you have to discard 2 cards. So basically 4 out of your 6 starting cards are super polys. Discard fodder or the card. It just feels like too much to me. Droplet is like baby imperm, or maybe imperm is baby droplet. Droplet is once per turn. That's why I'm running 2 of them. So you have 5 ways of negating Herald slash Yummy Snatchy. Also, Forbidden Droplet is very good for dodging effects, right? So Draco Tail has a card called Draco Tail Flame, which can target spell cards of yours and negates them. If you try to activate a spell and they try to negate with Flame, you can chain Droplet, send that spell away, negate a monster, and then you dodge the negate, right? So Droplet is very good. Droplet is also very good at like again dealing with Harrow, dealing with Snatchies, right? Uh, yeah, it's just like a good, it's just like a good card, right? And it's a quick play. So going first or second, yeah. So all these cards are live going first or second, except for Fuwalos. So these cards go first or second. These cards can go first or second. Fuwalos only for going second. However, if you need discard fodder for Super Poly or Droplet, guess what? Fuwalos in hand can just be that discard fodder, right? So it's not a huge deal if you break on Fuwalos going first, simply because Fuwalos is so good going second that you just want to have it in your main deck, in my opinion. And then finally, the last 3 breakers is 3 evenly matched. So I do have the triple quarter century secret rare evenly matched. Nobody respects this card, by the way. um, yeah, this card is cracked. I've won at least 2 games today at locals from this card. I evenly matched a Yummy player and I evenly matched an Art Mage player. No, I won 3. I resolved this 3 times. Once against Primite Odion. So yeah, I actually played against Primite Odion. So it was pure Odion versus Primite Odion. And by the way, the Primite Odion player copied the deck from the YCS winner, Diego. He was playing the same deck minus the Trumpeteer because nobody has that freaking card, but he was running some other level 4 vanilla. But yeah, I impermed his uh barrel, his Primite Dragon Ether barrel, so he couldn't search Drill Beam, and then I evenly matched him on his turn. Without Drill Beam, he can't negate evenly match. Like Drill Beam is the only thing that can negate this because the Apophis traps are negate is main phase only. This is battle phase, right? So I evenly matched the Yummy player. I evenly matched as well. I But yeah, another cool thing about evenly matched is if you're going second, this is a trap card that if it's in your graveyard, similar to Imperm, these either of these being in your graveyard can trigger the search off Treasure of the Kings. Also, if your Anubis is in the graveyard, it'll more likely be live, right? To be able to summon itself and by shuffling two back, right? You need a third name, like unique name, but yeah, the fact that these are trap cards and they're in your graveyard, for both treasures and Anubis, is just like a nice thing. It's just a nifty thing, right? Um, the only thing I would say about uh, synergies is that so Draco Tail Flame cannot negate evenly matched because it can only negate spell cards. Uh, Herald can negate this, but you can deal with Herald by super polling it away, dropletting it, or imperming it. So Herald. So ideally, again, we're running 18 board breakers here, right? Because these are also board breakers. Ideally, you see 2 or 3 of these in your opening hand. 2 or 3 combinations of these, like will break a board, almost guaranteed, right? And then droplet can also be used to like, you know, uh, so Super Poly. Let's say you make Mud Dragon or Garura or whatever. Let's say you open Super Poly evenly matched. You can probably Super Poly their board. And then you could attack like Crash. So let's say you crash Garura, it goes to graveyard, you draw a card, and then at the end of battle you evenly matched, right? So technically there's a slight anti-synergy between Super Poly and evenly matched, just because if you have a body on the field, how are you going to evenly match? You can crash that body or get rid of the body, right? With either droplet or attacking and crashing into something. Garura maybe 1500 means it can crash into Little Knight. It can crash into a lot of stuff. Um, and also you could technically like send the super poly target away with droplet if you really want, if you really need. But I mean, if you evenly match, if you have evenly match, you probably like let's say you have evenly match super, you have no ways of like crashing or getting rid of the monster. Let's say you're against Yummy, evenly matched, bait the Herald negate, and then end of still battle phase, you super poly, uh, one like either 2 snatches or snatchy plus a synchro into Garura, and then you attack over like either the second statue or the other. Like it's fine if they negate this with Herald because you can on new chain Super Poly their board, right? Herald's off the field, Super Poly get rid of uh 2 of their yummy names, and then since you're still in battle phase, crash, right? Like you can still battle, right? And attack. So it's not the end of the world if you draw a Super Poly evenly. Playtesting this, I've never run into a situation where like I got screwed because these are the only things I had together. Like these are just good cards, right? So yeah, that is my main deck. So we have 18 uh what is this? 18 I said 18, right? 18 non-engine, 19 engine, and 3 consistency cards via the pot cards. Yeah, I really like these ratios. Um, obviously, you can kind of change the combination of these a little, but because a lot of these cards can be used on your opponent's turn, like going first or second. Actually, evenly match going first is kind of a dead card, but evenly match can be sent to the graveyard for droplet or super poly, and also it can be set if you need a card set in order to activate treasures. So it's not the end of the world if you draw evenly match going first. Also, if you're going first, you're probably like just winning through engine anyway. So anyway, that is my main deck. Yeah, draw a good card, play it, main deck it. Trust me. Don't believe the Yugi tubers that tell you to side deck it or not play draw. They're just wrong. All right, let's get into your extra deck. Your extra deck has 2 copies of Divine Serpent Apophis. Unfortunately, I think these only came in super rare. I wish they got a rarity upgrade. You want 2 copies because if you don't banish them on Extrav, sometimes they do in the grind game. 2 will come up. Although if you do Extrav, hopefully you only banish one on the other, and then you still have access to one. Most of the time, most games you'll just see one. Let's read what this says. Level 6, Earth Reptile, Apophis. So because it has Apophis in its name, man can protect it from being destroyed. 2 monsters that mention Temple of the Kings must be either future summoned or special summoned by tributing to Apophis monsters. So this can be summoned by like Contact Fusion. Tributing any 2 combinations of these, can be 2 of these, or 1 of each. Tribute the special. Or if you already have another Divine Serpent Apophis on the field, you can actually tribute that Apophis with another one to summon your second Apophis. Because, it is Apophis by name, right? Why would you want to tribute an existing one? Because its effects are not once per turn. It's once per turn per copy. So let's talk about its effects now. So this says once per turn you can target up to 3 Apophis traps with different names in your graveyard. Set them. Now most of the time, because we're only running 2 of them, we're only ever setting up to 2. However, other variants of this deck might run embodiment of Apophis, which is the brick that doesn't do anything. It's just a vanilla. You could theoretically set that one, but yeah, probably don't need to play that one. Second effect: once per turn, if a trap card is activated, any trap card, your trap card, their trap card, doesn't matter. On new chain as a trigger effect, target a card your opponent controls and pop it, destroy it. Soft once per turn, which means you could technically like use this effect to reset, tribute it, use this effect to reset more if you have more in the graveyard. So if you have a bunch of your traps in the graveyard, you could like set all of them, right? So very good card. I'll show you the combo later in this video for how this works. We have the only other fusions we're playing are your super poly targets. 1 Garura for same attribute, same type, different names. 1 Mud Dragon, same attribute, different types. So Garura great against Mitsu. Yummy Mud Dragon also good against Yummy. Draco Tail less so, but just the Mud Dragon effect is cracked, right? You can change its attribute from water to like Earth, and then none of your Earth monsters are gonna be targeted by card effects. It's great. More super poly targets. I'm playing 1 Predaplant, Trifiviratum, 3 Dark Monsters. If your opponent's playing like some really absurd Mitsu thing, or like Orcus Mitsu, or like whatever Mitsu variant, let's say they have the 2 reptiles, let's say they have a IP Masquerena, super poly all 3 of them, bam. Well, let's say that you're playing against Orcus Mitsu. Let's say they have Dingirsu, Galatea, Harakumo, or I keep forgetting what the main boss monster Mitsu card is. Super poly all 3 of them, bam. And on the effect is when your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck, while you control this fusion summon card, you can negate the summon. So yeah, this is just like I'm against like a really obnoxious dark Mitsu pile, and then I can just like get rid of 3 of their board, and if they summon again, I can negate the summon. So yeah, this is just really good. Other super poly targets, Secretarion Dragon. This is for Draco Tail, pretty much Draco Tail only. I mean, I guess Magis's Draco Tail also works, and Branded Draco Tail, right? Yeah. So 3K beater, it loses attack if they're banished cards, but the main thing is this says while you control this fusion summon card, your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon dragon or spellcaster monsters they control. So you can shut off their Arthalion, you can shut off their Gulamel, right? You can shut off a lot of stuff. And then finally, we're running the 1 Mega Fleet Dragon. So nobody at my locals actually plays Crystron or Canine Crystron. Pretty much the most represented decks in my locals are like Draco Tail, Yummy Mitsu, and then there's like some bunch of rogues. There's like one or two other Odion variants that are also playing it. This is just for Krishron. You could contact fuse away their Cyber Dragon Affinity with like whatever link monster, maybe it's IP or like SP, whatever, and then you make this right contact fusion, so they can't stop it. So these are just super poly targets. Bear in mind that if you are going to play super poly, obviously if you're going first, Extrav might banish the super poly target. If you're going second, Extrav is main phase only. Super poly is any phase. So you do this on draw or standby phase before you banish cards from your extra deck, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind. So those are the only fusions. Let's get into our Xyz monsters. One Gallic Granite. This is for searching Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which is in my side deck. More on that later. One Baguska, the Terribly Tired Tapir. It's a rank 4 floodgate. It basically tells your opponent you can't play the game. This pretty much forces your opponent to make awkward plays into like SP Little Knight to get rid of it. If you force a Yummy player to go SP Little Knight, how are they going to make it snatchy if SP Little Knight is in an extra monster zone? They can't. So as long as you don't activate any card effects to allow them to banish their own Little Knight off the field, they can't make snatchy because so they need to have the snatchy in the graveyard and have like yummy surprise to bring back the snatchy. Like that's the only way. They can't normally make snatchy if they go into the SP Little Knight to try to take this out, right? But also you have ways of protecting Baguska. And then finally, 2 copies of Super Star Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis. So I have a QCR and I have an ultra rare version. This is 2 of because if you don't banish, so typically the play pattern is if you're running Pot of Prosperity, let's say you're going first and you Pot of Prosperity, you probably banish all the Super Poly targets, assuming you didn't draw a Super Poly. And so if you know what deck your opponent's playing and you think Super Poly will be live, keep the one target and then banish the others. And then like you could banish you banish Gallant Granite because this card is only for Lord of the Heavenly Prison, which is in your side deck. We are not main decking the Nibiru or Lord. This is just a side deck card. So you can banish this. So technically, if you don't have Super Poly, these are the 6 banishes. The 5 Super Poly targets plus Granite. That's it. And then you still have the option to go into Sky Crisis twice, Typhon twice, right? If you do not have Super Poly and you can banish Granite. Keep the target that you are going to use, banish everything else, and then you could banish the second Typhon or banish like something else. But this gives you options, right? Also, let's say you don't have Prosperity. Let's say you have Extrav instead. By Extraving, you'll probably only banish 1 copy of Sky Crisis. Today I banished both of them. One of the times I play this, it ended up not mattering because I didn't need them that game. But it would suck to banish both of them. Yeah, technically you could banish both your Divine Serpents. That would be bad. You could banish both of your Sky Crisis. That would be bad, but not the end of the world. But yeah, so that's why I like to run 2. Banishing Gallant or Baguska, not a big deal, honestly. Those are all RXCs, no synchros, because we're not playing the side frames. Links, 1 Little Knight, 2 Silhouette Rabbit, 1 Link Spider. So we have Prismatic Collector's Rare SP, and we have QCR Link Spider. I do have the OTS pack Ultimate Link Spider, but I think this one just looks better. Anyway, 2 Silhouette Rabbit. This is big part of your combo. 2 because 2 might come up if you don't banish it off a pot. If you banish it off Extrav, it'll be nice to have at least 1. Link Spider because Silhouette Rabbit and SP require effect monsters, and your Apophis traps are not effect monsters; they are normal monsters. So to convert them into effect monster, you can Link Spider. Obviously, if you banish Link Spider off Extrav, you don't have that option, but it's fine. It's not a huge deal if you can't Link Spider. Yeah. So if you Prosperity, the 5 Super Power targets plus Granite. This is assuming game 1 going first. Going second, same, unless you open Super Poly and you know what target you're going to use. Then I would do Gallant Granite, 4 of the super poly targets plus honestly a rabbit. Like it does it like because you want to have going second, you want to have the availability of double Typhon in case they out one of them, and then on a subsequent turn you can hit them with another one. And you want the option of Little Knight, so I like to keep that. Or you can just banish one Apophis and keep the one of the rabbits. It's up to you. And then obviously for extra, if you don't have control over that. This is my extra deck. I like these ratios. I have yet to get screwed over by any of the pot cards. I've yet to miss any card that's not in here. So I think I'm gonna keep these for now. And then we'll go into our extra deck. Sorry, not extra deck. Our side deck. Side deck. We are running 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More. 3 copies of Raigeki. Yeah, so I have a secret rare. Sorry, platinum secret rare Raigeki from Ready Collection, regular secret rare Raigeki from Megaton, and then the prismatic secret. Prismatic secret and prismatic secret Raigeki with the alt art with the Slifer from the recent from the last year's Megaton. So that's a sick card. Um. And then finally, well, and then 3 triple tactics thrust. So Dark Ruler No More is an amazing card. It's just a better droplet, and it also prevents your opponent from taking damage, which means they like if let's say they have prayers or like there's some Mitsurugi card that requires them to take damage to use, they can't use those cards. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Yummy Snatchy requires you to pay 100 life points. Like I think you have to take 100 life points in order to use its effect. I think this shuts it off. Maybe it's cost. I don't know. But there's some interaction where one of your opponent's cards requires them to lose life points or take damage, and they can't take damage under Dark Ruler, so they actually those cards actually can't resolve. If you know what cards I'm talking about, feel free to comment below. I don't feel like looking it up right now. I'm not going to edit the video to do so. Yeah, 2 Dark Ruler, 3 Raigeki, 3 Thrust. Why this ratio? Dark Ruler no more is hard once per turn. Raigeki is not once per turn. If you open all 3 Raigekis, they're all playable. Raigeki is, by the way, a super underrated card. If you successfully Raigeki a Yummy board, they're cooked. What are they gonna do? Their best play is let's see, I guess would be Yummy Surprise, revive one of their synchros, and then they can use their synchro to tag out into a Snatchy plus another thing. But it's like that's pretty sad. Like if one Raigeki will just like I don't know. I feel like every time I've successfully Raigeki'd an opponent's board, they don't really have any more. They're done. They can't. So Raigeki is kind of like the second or third board breaker you actually use, right? Most of the time, your first like again, we're running a lot of board breakers. You're playing multiple board breakers. Most of the time, the first board breaker you want to open with is either Imperm, Super Poly, or Droplet. So these are typically the ones you want to lead with. You also want to lead with Dark Ruler. But most of the time, you'll be playing all of these board breakers before you even get to Raigeki. Raigeki is like, okay, you've used your interruptions, you've put the monsters that you need. Goodbye to your monsters. And if they still negate it, you might have a second. So Raigeki is like you very rarely actually open with just Raigeki as your first and only play, right? Um, so yeah, like there was a game where I opened like Dark Ruler evenly and Raigeki, and I played it in the order Dark Ruler, then evenly, then Raigeki. Most of the time, you Dark Ruler, you go into evenly, it's free. Most of the time, your opponent will keep a monster on the field or set up a monster on their main phase 2, maybe through 5 mana, maybe through like uh uh I don't know, one of the Yummy synchros. Like let's say they uh let's say they quick synchro into, let's say you evenly then they use Snatchy to quick synchro into one of the Yummy monsters, evenly resolves. They banish everything but the level 2 synchro, and then that level 2 synchro, maybe it'll revive 2 from graveyard, maybe like, but it can tag out into 2 bodies, and then you Raigeki. Like, yeah. Dark Ruler, Evenly, Raigeki. That's the order you use these. And personally, unless those monsters on their field do something, I don't Raigeki until my turn is over before I end my turn, because let's say they have Fualos in the hand or Psyframes in the hand. You want to leave the one monster on their field, like one or two monsters. Do your combo, set up everything, and then you Raigeki to wipe the last monsters after you've already like wiped most of it, right? So yeah, Raigeki is like the icing, the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, the last nail of the coffin of your opponent. If you do other stuff to them to mess with their board, and then you Raigeki them, they'll probably just scoop at that point. Like it's very hard to come back from like with like no board, right? Especially with like a full Odion board with multiple negates. Thrust can search you Dark Ruler, can search you Raigeki, can search you Evenly Matched, can search you uh Talent, can search you Terraforming, can search you Infinite Impermanence, right? Like, why not play Thrust? It's just a good card, and you know your opponent is going to use monster effects on your turn. So basically, for going first versus going second, let's say you decide you want to side for going. Well, actually, I'll get to side deck patterns in a bit. But yeah, so these are just like, yeah. I pretty much always put these in if in like game 2 or 3 if I'm forced to go second. These almost always go in. And honestly, like you can even replace some of the other breakers like that are just not as strong as these. But of course, it's matchup dependent. But like these are often I'm going second game 2 or 3. Put these in. All right, more side deck. One copy of Lord of the Heaven Prison. This is searchable off of Gallic Granite. So you just need one. This can help protect your back row against like Lightning Storm. Also, this is a going second. Sometimes, so I almost always side this in going first. I sometimes side this in going second, depending on my opponents on the matchup. If I'm against Draco Tail has 2 pops on their turn. So if you're able to set up man and treasures, man will protect your face up cards. Lord can protect your face down cards from being popped, right? But also just like Lightning Storm. Anyway, 3 copies of D Barrier, 1 copy of Different Dimension Ground. Let's put this here. 1 copy of Daruma Karma Cannon, 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. Uh, yeah, so we have QCR D barriers because you want to make your opponent scoop in style, right? So D barrier is just like the best trap card in the game, right? I think everyone just like agrees about that. So the cool thing about Lord of the Heaven Prison is that Lord, if Temple of the Kings is on the field, which so oftentimes when you go first, you'll set up your board. You'll search Lord using Gallant. You'll set up Temple of Heaven Prison. On your opponent's turn, you use back row. You summon Lord. You set any trap card you want from back, and because Temple's on the field, you can use it immediately. So theoretically, you summon Lord, set D barrier, and then you can activate D barrier immediately. Or you could use Lord, set different dimension ground, activate it. You can set Lord, set Karma Cannon, activate it. You could even use Lord to set Solemn Judgment. Like, why not, right? If you think your opponent's about to evenly you, and by the way, this deck does get hurt by evenly. Being able to search Solemn Judgment from your deck is very strong, right? And yes, this is QCR Solemn Judgment. Yeah, I'm all blinged out because you know how I roll. So yeah, Lord is just amazing. D Barrier is the best card in the game. And by the way, Triple Tactics Thrust can set D Barrier. So if you're going first and your opponent tries to interact with you, Thrust D Barrier. You skip my turn, I skip your turn, motherfucker. You'll definitely see one of these. And if you already see D barrier because you're running 3, thrust into like different dimension now. Thrust into Karma Cannon, right? Karma Cannon is just like can deal with Luna Light, right? You need some answer to the Luna Light monster, the Leo Dancer, Liger Dancer. Although no one's really playing Luna Light in my locals because like I think in the last couple of YCS Luna Light haven't done much. I think once people like realize that deck is a thing, they're prepping for it. So you're seeing less Luna Light. And then Judgment is just good card. Like yeah, it's just another Omni Negate. So theoretically, if you're able to set up like man with verdict, that's Omnigate. Judgment is Omnigate, right? So Before I talk about side decking patterns, and actually, actually, I'll talk about side decking patterns now before I talk about combos. What I like to do, historically, is let's say you are going first. You say you're siding for going first, right? You lost game 1. You now have to side for going first. What do you side out? I mean, the obvious ones is Fua and so Fua is 3 cards, and then of course evenly matched is 3 cards. So you could side these guys out. This is 6 cards. What do you side in? If you need 6 cards to side in, like these are the no-brainers. Thrust with 3 D bearers are no-brainers, right? You could side these in. But what if you but you also want to side in some of these if you can. So you need 4 more cards that you want to side in. So what do you side out for these? Why not the 2 droplet and 2 super polys? These 4 cards are just better than these 4 cards in my opinion. Which means that and especially because these cards consume resource, right? This requires you to discard from hand and have the super poly target. If you extrav and you lose the super poly target, this is a dead card, right? And this feels like worse than any of these cards, right? So literally side deck pattern. Going first, game 2. You take out 10 cards. You take out these 10 cards. You're going first, right? For these 10 cards. That's it. Very simple. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, right? Theoretically, you could keep some of these if, let's say, your opponent has a deck that doesn't play well to Droll. You could also side out Droll, and then keep 3 of these, right? Let's say you want to keep like 2 droplet and a super poly or 2 or whatever, right? So you could side even further. Yeah, very simple side pattern. Okay, what about for going second? What do you side out for going second? That's probably the trickier one. So for going second, you obviously want to keep Hua, right? So going second, let's see. It is going second. Let's say yeah, you're going second game 2. It is matchup dependent. Obviously, you're not siding in any of these, so let's ignore these. So we have basically instead of 10 side-in options for going. So if going first, we have 10 side-in options. Going second, we have 8 side-in options, right? So we need 8 cards to put these guys in. What are some good cards that you could side out? Well, going second, you could side out Verdict and Anguish Pattern for like Dark Rulers, for example. You could do these 2 for these 2. The reason for that is because Anguish Pattern is very bricky, and like going second, it's like it really doesn't help you at all. Anubis can break boards going second, but it's very conditional. If you're trying to break a board going second, like a Raigeki is just better than Anubis, right? Like a Dark Rune no More is better than Anubis. What else could you side out? Again, very matchup dependent. If your opponent is not doing that many graveyard effects or has ways of dodging graveyard effects, you could side out the Call by the Grave. Against Draco Mitsuyami, I think Call by will always be maybe talents, right? You could side out. Theoretically, you could side out your super polys and droplets. Okay, so it's very matchup dependent, right? So droplet, Dark World no More, you definitely want to see these against Yumi and Mitsu. You don't really care about them as much against Draco Tail. Super Poly, again, it all kind of depends, right? So Thrust can search Raigeki and can search Dark Ruler, but it cannot search Droplet or Vermin Droplet. So theoretically, you could side out these 6, put in like 3 Thrust, and then you need to put 3 more in. Either 3 Raigeki or maybe 2 Dark Ruler Raigeki. But also you could side out like, for example, again, depending how well your opponent plays in the Droll. If you're against Draco Tail, they don't really play in the Droll. You could also take out 3 Drolls, right? So 3 Drolls is another way of siding in everything. So the siding for going second is a lot more matchup dependent, right? So I kind of leave that up to you, but don't be afraid to side these out, honestly. And to be honest, if you really need to side out more things for going second, you could side out like engine. You could side out like one man and one Anubis, for example, if you really wanted to. If you want to fit all your going second cards, plus evenly, like you could do that, right? Um, most of the time, you probably don't need that many going second cards. And again, it's very matchup dependent, so most of these won't even like really work. But yeah, these four are always in consideration for siding out for going second, and of course, drolls are. Again, it is very matchup dependent. But yeah, so the pattern for siding for going second is a bit more trickier, and it's really matchup dependent. Anyway, so let's guys back. But yeah, and honestly, like you don't have to side in all three thrusts because these are once per turn, right? You can side in two of them or even one of them, right? Um, I think it's more important to see like two copies of because thrust could get ashed. You could theoretically get ashed or drolled on a thrust. So if you're running out of space for siding in, don't be afraid to side in like these six, right? If you're taking out six, these are the six you can side in, right? 3 Raigeki, 2 Dark Ruler, 1 Thrust. Because again, thrust could get ashed. It's hard once per turn. These three are not once per turn. They can't get ashed. So yeah, you're not required to side in all three thrusts when you're going second. Going first, I think it's a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you side in all three thrusts? You have the space for it. Yeah. So that is side decking patterns. Yeah. So I really like this side deck. So basically, the way I look at it is like Lord is like your these four are your bridge between going first and going second. These are your going first cards, these are your going second cards, and these are versatile. These are for going first or second depending on the matchup. So yeah, it's like you're going second, you're going first. Make sense, right? And of course, these are versatile. Maybe you only take one, maybe you only take two. Like it's up to you, right? But yeah, so I like to organize my side deck in this way, just so that I know like what each of these things are for. By the way, one quick note about Destructive Doom Karma Cannon. It's very good against Yummy. You can end their turn. Draco Tail does not care about this card. And Mitsu doesn't really care either. This is primarily for Yummy, right? Uh, I mentioned Lunalight to get rid of the Liger Dancer. And I guess it could be good against K9 and Krishron. The other thing that's really cool about this card is this card can reset your trap cards to your trap monsters, right? So let's say on your turn you summon a bunch of your trap monsters. Let's say you summon like one Serpent, two Deities, right? Like so you negated two of your opponent's cards, and then they keep playing. Now you Karma Cannon, you flip all your opponent's monsters face down, and then all of these traps come back, and like you can reactivate them on the next turn. So it's great, right? So yeah, Karma Cannon is just like a good card, right? Like why not just have one? Deals with annoying things like Liger Dancer. Deals with some other cards, and if you really need, you can set this off Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Probably won't, but it's an option, right? It's good to have that option. All right, that is a deck profile. Um, let's get into combos and what do you do with opening hands. So let's start with the most standard combo, Man with a Mark. I guess this is a 1.5 card combo in the sense that you kind of need like man plus any spell trap in your hand. Yeah, so I guess 1.5 card combo. Normal summon man, activate man effect to search treasures to your hand. Activate treasures. Treasures will set Apophis the Serpent. You set that spell trap in hand. You set it because you have two set cards. You can activate this. This will search you Merciless Scorpion. You banish an Anubis from your deck. You summon Scorpion. Scorpion effect. You search treasures of the Temple of the Kings. You activate Temple of the Kings. At this point, you have a few options. You can do, and again, depend. Well, before I talk about the options, let's talk about like what you can do from here. Temple allows you to activate Apophis this turn, summons itself. It's a level 4 monster, right? And then you can immediately set your sorry, not Serpent. You want to set your Swamp Deity. Whoops. There's a few things you can do on this turn, but let's assume you want to be greedy, right? You can activate Swamp Deity, summon it, and then you contribute these 2 cards. For Apophis, Divine Serpent Apophis, use its effect to reset Apophis and Swamp Deity and the Serpent. You link these 2 off. Silhouette Rabbit effect. You will set from your deck Anguish Pattern, right? So that's what a man plus any settable set trap will get you. And hopefully the settable set trap is a useful card like Imperm, maybe Droplet, maybe Super Poly, maybe another Swamp Deity, right? But on your turn, on your opponent's turn, what do you have? This is a quick. This is a target spell trap pop. This is a back row pop. This you summon this. We'll make it so that again, a back row pop, anything pop. You summon this. This can pop. This will set another Serpent from your deck. And then you can activate, negate. This activates the pop again. And then you can activate this, negate. So this is a negate 2, this is a negate 3, and then this is a pop. So you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pops, plus one of them is a back row pop. The other 4 is any pops, and you have a total of 2 negates. Well, 2 in the same chain, but like theoretically you can negate more than 1 card. So you can negate a Yummy field spell plus whatever Yummy monster they just tagged into, right? So you can actually get a lot done with this. And then whatever this last card is, like Droplet, whatever, you can use as interruption, right? So that's what 1.5 cards gets you. That is absolutely insane, right? Okay. Let's do a slightly different board. Let's put these away real quick. Let's say hypothetically you open man plus field spell. This is the dream opener, by the way. Man plus field spell is a great opener, and obviously Anubis can substitute for man. Yeah. So you can activate treasures to set Apophis Serpent from deck. Normal summon man effect to search Judgment of Anubis from your deck to your hand. Set Judgment of Anubis, activate Treasures of the Kings. If they attempt to pop Treasure of the Kings with a quick effect, let's say they have Ghost Ogre, let's say they have, I don't know, Mystical Space Typhoon, whatever. They have some kind of effect that pops this card. Because man is on the field, man is protected from being popped. So, yeah, so just keep that in mind. So anyway, you use treasures to search Merciless Scorpion. Merciless Scorpion, banish this, summon itself, activate effect. Let's get our temple out. Let's do Apophis. This will set the other one. Swamp Deity. Swamp Deity summons. You contribute these for the Divine Serpent. Divine Serpent, reset these 2. Then you can link these away into Silhouette Rabbit. Silhouette Rabbit will set your Anguish Pattern. So now you're going into your opponent's turn with a similar hand, but now that set card that we use to trigger treasures is guaranteed to be an amazing card, right? This card is absolutely broken, right? Before it was a a random card. It could have been any card, right? But in this case, it's our counter trap, which can stop back row. It can stop evenly matched. Like it stops a spell trap. They get spell trap, destroys your entire opponent's board, and burns them for damage. Right? I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah. So that's what can be done with 2 cards, and obviously, if you get hand trapped on man, then treasures is still alive. Instead of searching Anubis, you don't search. Man will search nothing, but treasures will search, right? So if they have a hand trap that you like, they can't ash you twice. They would have to ash and purge specifically, or ash and imperm. But a lot of players are not even opting to play imperm anymore because imperm targets, and like a lot of stuff can just dodge targeting in this format. So and like Draco Tail's not gonna play imperm. Yeah, just a lot of decks are just not gonna play imperm. But yeah, this plays through at least one hand trap and gets you the same end board. If you don't get hand trap, you get an extra spicy end board via the counter trap, right? Yeah. Other options. Let's go back to you having this. Where's my man? I just had my man. Where's my man? Whatever. Let's say this is our board. Alternatively, you could, if you wanna keep man on the field because man has a protection effect, you could link this off into Link Spider. Link Spider and Scorpion make Rabbit. Rabbit sets an Apophis, the Serpent trap from your deck, right? So you have the protection. You don't get your anguish pattern, unfortunately. But this is like a less greedy play. Also, again, you'll often run into a situation in playing this deck where you run out of back row slots, like ways to set cards. So if let's say you just happen, let's say you're going first, or even like you're going first. You're setting cards. Let's say you open Imperm. Let's say you open D-Barrier. Let's say you already open a bunch of back row. Then you don't actually need to go to Rabbit to set more back row because your back row is full, right? So instead, you can just go like, let's say you have a full back row. You have too many things to set. You have way too much going on. You can just sit on like Serpent here, and then you can go into Baguska. Or you can go into Little Knight, right? With you can link these two into Little Knight, right? And then you can like do a banish on your opponent's turn, but it frees up your front row in case you have a lot of back row that's going to come up, right? So yeah, it really depends on what your opening hand is, and I'll go through a few sample opening hands just so you guys see what I would personally do in that given situation. But yeah, sometimes like if you have too much back row, you don't go too greedy, right? But yeah, so that's a cool combo. Let's go. Let's do some other smaller combos. Um, let's say that our opening hand is the following. Let's say we have no other engine cards except Temple plus Apophis. Let's say we just open a bunch of bricks slash uh you know non-engine interrupts. Let's say like we just have like a lot of stuff going on here, right? Let's say we open just a bunch of, let's say this is our opening hand right here. One might say this is a bricky hand. One might say that, but it's actually not, because Temple plus Apophis Serpent or Temple plus Scorpion is full combo, quote unquote. So here's what I would do with a hand like this, right? Activate Temple, set Apophis, activate Apophis using Temple's effect, which will let you summon this, set this guy, right? Summon that guy, make Divine Serpent, reset these two, and then from your 3 cards here, you can choose which one you think is the best. Like maybe you set Imperm and then you set Anguish Pattern, right? Uh, but let's say you didn't have anything. Let's say these were like just the brickiest bricks imaginable, and they were completely unplayable, unsettable. Then either way, on your opponent's turn, you still have 2 negates and a pop, right? So this summons, sets a Swamp Deity from deck, trigger to pop, negate, negate. So technically 3 negates, because this negates 2 cards. But so even if you don't open like your main 1-card starters, this plus that is fine, right? And actually, let's say you open Temple, and you also open Merciless Scorpion, right? These are like, 2 bricks that are not bricks if they're together. It's very funny how this works, right? You activate Temple, banish Anubis, summon Scorpion, Scorpion effect. We're actually going to get our field spell, right? Because it's searchable. Activate field spell. Set the Apophis. Um, if you have any other card in hand that you can set, like let's just say this is just a generic set, you can use this to search man, normal summon man effect. Oh, I accidentally set verdict. Well, let's say we have this. We search verdict, right? Then it's the same combo, right? Apophis summon, sets another one from deck, and we can summon this, and then we can go into the divine, and then make Hat Rabbit, right? So yeah. So even though most of the time you want to search these two out, if you happen to draw them together, they're actually full combo. Lol. Same with Apophis. Like most of the time you want to set this from deck off the field spell, but if you happen to open them together, then go for it, right? Keep in mind that let's say that you open treasures with Apophis already in hand. When you activate treasures, I would actually just set Swamp Deity, right? Set the Swamp Deity, and then you can set Apophis, and then you can do the search, right? So now this will guarantee get you on once you get the man temple, this will get you another Apophis Swamp Deity. Where my Swamp Deities? Set, activate, make Divine Serpent, reset these 2. You don't go into the rabbit, but now you go into your opponent's turn with a total of 3 negates, right? Because this sets the 3rd one from deck. If you want, where is it? And then yeah, you have 3 negates. Theoretically, because you only have 5 main monster zones, you can actually summon this guy in the extra monster zone, right? Can I do that? Special summon. I don't know if you can put in the extra monster zone. I actually never. This scenario actually never came up, but I don't think you can because it's not technically a fusion summon, right? Whatever. I mean, you'll still have 2 negates. You could technically pop. I mean, one of your cards might get popped or something, or like maybe they impulse you, whatever. It's not a huge deal, right? You actually don't even have to go into this at all, and you can just end on anyway, yeah. So anyway, let's see what else. Okay, so that's those are your main combos. Let's do some practice, some sample hands, right? Where we're going to shuffle this deck. Oh, actually, before I do that, let me show you the Lord of the Heavenly Prison combo. Let's say we do the side in, and we side in Lord of the Heavenly Prison. So let's say this is in our deck now. So what we do with man is normal man, treasures, set Apophis. Actually, uh, let's just assume for the sake of argument that we have the counter trap verdict. Either we search it off mana or we will hard or whatever. We have some card that we can set, right? So Apophis, we set some card. Use this. Scorpion, banish, summon, activate. Get temple. We special our Apophis. Set the Swamp Deity. And at this point, we actually overlay these two into Gallant Granite. Detach the Serpent. Always detach the Serpent because it's a trap card in the graveyard. You can recycle it off of Anubis if you have one, or you can recycle it off Divine Serpent, right? I mean, it doesn't matter because they're all ones in the graveyard. And then this will search any rock monster. You search Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Where's my Lord? Put him somewhere. Oh, here. Oh, yeah. You search Lord of the Heavenly Prison from your deck. You activate Lord. And now you can link these off into Silhat Rabbit. Silhat Rabbit can set either. So it depends on what you have in your back row. You can either set your Anguish Pattern from deck, or if you really need, if you prefer having more negates to pops, you can set the Serpent, right? It depends, right? Because we set this off of the first Serpent. If we do Anguish Pattern, we can summon Anguish Pattern, and we get 1 negate plus 1 pop. However, if we set Apophis, we get 2 negates with and not have that pop. So it really depends what your back row is. Regardless, you have Lord activated, right? Let's say we set Anguish Pattern, doesn't matter. Let's say this is our set, right? On your opponent's turn, you shotgun Anguish Pattern, summon it, new chain Lord, special Lord, set any trap card you want from your deck. You can set Verdict if you didn't already have it. You can set well, ideally this is Lord is post side deck, right? You can set D Barrier. You can set a different dimension ground. You can set Karma Cannon. You can set Solemn Judgment. Pick your poison. If you want to turn skip, D Barrier is probably the way to go, but D Barrier, because we're running 3, you're probably gonna just hard draw this or like set it off thrust. If you think your opponent's gonna evenly match you, you set Judgment, right? Because you need an Omni Negate. Either way, like this, like 2 of these are turn skips. This is a situational turn skip, and then this is a I hope I don't get like you set Solemn if you don't have Verdict. If you already have Verdict, you're fine against evenly. Just set one of these, right? And because Temple's on the field, you can activate them immediately, right? So whichever one you decide to set, you activate, right? Liberate, call fusions or synchros, depending on your opponent's matchup. Yeah, so that's how you utilize Lord of the Heavy Prison. Yeah, very simple. Yeah, so that's why we run the 1 Gallant Granite. Obviously, if you banish it off Extrav, like you can't do that. But alas, so that is the Lord combo. So now let's do some sample hands. All right, so my deck was not shuffled. Let's shuffle it this time. Do a quick pile shuffle. That's 40. I also like to pile shuffle to verify I indeed have 40 cards in case I messed up on sighting or one of my cards got like stuck in my deck box or whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's cut 3-way cut. 1, 2. All right. So 5 card hand. Let's see what we got here. 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a hand you want going first or second, right? Obviously, it's better going second because you have Fua. Going first, Fua is discard fodder for Super Poly, but this is literally full combo. And let's say you're going second. Oh my god, you can break any board you want with this. This is the most, yeah. You're breaking their board. You are breaking their board here. Treasures cannot really be hand trapped. So getting like Apophis plus Swamp Deity, like, and then you have these for your opponent. It's like, yeah, this is cracked. This is an insanely cracked hand, right? Uh, okay, I guess let's simulate going first. Okay, so we top deck Droplet. Let's go treasures. Set Apophis, the serpents. Let's set the Swamp Deity effect to search is get our man out. Honestly, if you don't mind playing a draw, you can search Anubis, and then Anubis searches man. It's up to you. Depends on if you think you're gonna get drolled or not. If you think they might have droll, just go straight for man. Don't be greedy. But let's say I'm greedy. I get man. Normal summon man effect. I will just set. Honestly, I could just set Verdict of a Anubis here, right? Let's see. So because I have Super Poly, um, yeah, let's set Verdict of Anubis. I'm not even. I don't even. My hand is so strong. I don't even need to go for Temple, right? Because let's count what we have here, right? I can end here and be okay. So this is man searching Verdict instead of Temple. Let's say we search Verdict instead of Temple. What do we go into our opponent's turn with? Oh, sorry, we set Super Poly, obviously. We go into an opponent's turn with one floodgate, uh, two negates, right? Because this will immediately search the other one. Yeah. So we have one negate, two negate, three negates. Blow up their board. Super poly their board. Discard Fua. Make Mud Dragon or whatever, Garura, whatever. And they also have the playthrough draw. So good luck. Yeah. So three negates. Super poly draw. Let's say you don't search Verdict of Anubis. What can you do instead? Instead of searching Verdict of Anubis, let's say we search Temple. Again, depends on what the matchup is. Like, do you know what the matchup is? Let's theorize we go Temple instead. So we go Temple. That means we can Serpent into the second Apophis, Swamp Deity. Swamp Deity. Tribute these two. Go into our Divine. Set these two back. And then we set Super Poly. So we have 5 now. So now on our opponent's turn, we effectively have Droll, 1 pop, 3 negates, right? Because we have 2 already set. And then we have this one that can search. And then we can Super Poly. So a slight problem with this deck or this build is that sometimes your front row and back row will get kind of cluttered. So for example, let's say you summon this, you set another one. You can only summon 2 more, and then you can't really Super Poly because you can't because it can go in the extra monster zone. Never mind. Yeah. So Super Poly not a problem here, but you can't activate your third one. So that can be slightly problematic. So maybe instead of going the Temple route, I go the Verdict route, right? It depends on like how many interruptions you think you want, right? Because this board gives me 1 pop, 2 negates, 1 Super Poly, Droll. The other board got me 3 negates, because I have Verdict plus Super Poly, no pop. Most of the time, I prefer to have the Verdict of Anubis because it's a counter trap, right? And it blows out your opponent's entire front row and burns them for damage. So most of the time, given that opening hand, so I showed you both routes you can take, right? You actually just end on one of these guys. Instead of going for Temple, instead of setting these and going for this guy, just go for Verdict. Verdict is just such a good card, right? And you're less likely to get super polyed, right? Because your opponent needs two Earth monsters to be on your field for them to super poly you. So the other one gave you an extra pop, but 1 extra less if you were negate. But it also made you basically a potential super poly target yourself. But also, here's one way you can avoid super poly. If you have both of these set, you don't need to you don't need to shotgun this. You only need to shotgun this card if you don't have a Swamp Deity. If you don't have a Swamp Deity, if this is the only one you have, You shotgun this on their draw phase, summon it, and then set a Swamp Deity from your deck, so you can use it on their main phase. However, if you already have a Swamp Deity, let's say they play a card, Chainlink 1, Serpent. If they impulse you, you can Chainlink 2, like Chainlink 2. You can Chainlink 3, Swamp Deity, and negate the card you want to negate. Or you can negate Impulse, right? And then this will summon or not, and then it'll set the other one from the deck, right? So this plays around Super Poly, right? They can't Super Poly you mid-chain, right? Because these will become monsters in the middle of the chain. And then on a new chain, they can try to Super Poly you. By that point, it doesn't matter. It's too late, right? So yeah, so that is yeah. So because of how I open, this is the board I would prefer. I would prefer to use Mana Search Verdict instead of using Mana Search Temple. I think I end up on a more solid and reliable end board than on the other one. The other one is a little too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, don't need that. Yeah, great opening hand, right? Great hand. Let's shuffle again and try another opening hand. Yeah, be very, very careful about cluttering the back row and the front row. All right, let's draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, going second, we only have one interruption via Imperm, but I would argue that going second, I would probably hold Imperm for my turn instead of using it on my opponent's turn. So hold Imperm. Let's say going second, what our 6 card draw would be. Oh, Super Poly, beautiful. Okay, so we can literally Imperm one of their Snatchies and then Super Poly. You can discard whatever, discard Serpent. Like, so you negate their Snatchy, Super Poly, the Herald plus whatever. You get it, right? Like, this is great. If you don't need to shotgun these in draw or standby phase, you can also try Prosperity to try to draw into more breakers. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I'll take it evenly. Suddenly, yeah, break, right? It's like you're breaking their board, right? And like Serpent could be your discard fodder. Like, yeah, this is great opening hand. Let's assume we're going first instead of second, so we don't top deck the poly. So we have 5 cards. Yeah, so no evenly either. Yeah, so this is our 5 card hand. Let's go Anubis, search man. Normal man effect. That treasures. Where are my treasures at? Actually, yeah, you definitely want to search treasures here. Treasures is like a goaded card, so you always want to go into treasures. Treasures, since we already have an Apophis Serpent in hand, we want to set the Swamp Deity. Set this guy. Activate effect to search a monster. Since we already have Scorpion, we can search a second Anubis or a man for follow up, right? I would probably do Anubis simply to have the option of because he can be summoned from graveyard or a hand, right, on the subsequent turns. So having 2 Anubis in rotation could be useful, right? Let's see. So we want to summon this guy by banishing our 3rd Anubis. So all our Anubi are in rotation, right? So that's banished. Activate effect. Let's get our temple. Activate temple. At this point, because we have imperm that we probably want to use. Oh, by the way, one quick thing about impermanence. This is very important. Impermanence, when you're going first, might screw you over on your columns, right? So when you activate impermanence, let's say hypothetically you have you imperm this column, and then later that turn you summon this monster to the same column. This guy gets negated and goes back to your spell trap zone. So be very careful about where you imperm. In fact, I would put your imperm on the same column as man, because you know that you're not going to accidentally summon your trap monsters to that column because man is there, right? So keep that in mind. Yeah, so let's say man's in the 4. Yeah. So because we want to be able to set impermanence, right? We actually want to, at this point, we have to decide: do we want to go into divine? Do we want to go into thing? Right. So right now we have and actually you can hold Temple of the Kings in your hand and not activate it because you want to decide how you want to use your last 2 back row. Right. So right now we're going to without if we end right here, we're going to the turn with 3 negates. Right. 1 monster negate, 2 back row negates. What we can do is we can let's shuffle our deck here. We can prosperity for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're not going to take Apophis because it's once per turn. We're not going to take Fua because it's not good going first. We could take a second Imperm, but a second Imperm is strictly worse than another Apophis, so I'm going to not take second Imperm. So Anguish Pattern is good, but it's also searchable off of Hat Rabbit. If we take Apophis, we effectively have yeah, so let's take Apophis, the swamp deity. We have 2 back row available. We can actually go ahead and set our deity, link these into Hat Rabbit. Hat Rabbit will get us the Anguish Pattern, and now we go into our opponent's turn with 5 set with a Hat Rabbit. So check this out. And be very careful with playing around the imperm column. You want to make sure that you're okay. So let's talk about this. So we have a total of, let's count. All these 4 can be summoned, plus the 1 set from this can be summoned. So we have a total of 1 monster negate, 1, 2, 3 negates, and if we summon this guy first, then we have spell trap pop. This might be the last card we play. Pop, negate pop, negate into a pop, negate into a pop. Set the other one, and then that's another pop. So yeah, we can actually. So we'll have 1 spell trap pop, 1 monster negate, and you can save imperm for last, by the way, because we're going to fill our front row with monster traps and we don't want these conflict. You can save imperm as your very last play, right? So before you use imperm, this will set the swamp deity from the field. So let's redo this again, right? So we have, and by the way, you the imperm column, you should summon your Serpent, because after you imperm them, Serpent will come back, and then you can use Serpent next turn if you want, right? So yeah, so something like activate this. You can do it spell trap pop it now if you want. Negate pop. Negate pop. Search this guy. Pop. Negate pop. Imperm. This guy goes back into your back row. Wherever you want, like here or whatever. Doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's 3 negates, 4 negates, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4 pops, 5 pops. With that opening hand, absolutely insane. Let's say that our man got ashed or imperm, then we use we use prosperity. Instead of digging for that Apophis, we dig for like the field spell or whatever. Like prosperity would be our extender. We hopefully get the field spell, right? Or we get the serpent, like whatever. Point is, we have lots of interactions on our opponent's turn. Let's do one more test hand, and then because I want to call this video. But yeah, this deck is just amazing. It's just so good. It's so good. One of the reasons that this Odion is better in Genesis, not just because of the cards don't cost much, but D Shifter is very popular main deck staple in Genesis. Odion doesn't care about D Shifter. Not as much as Eldritch does care about D Shifter. Labyrinth, kind of okay. So if you play Furniture Labyrinth, you care about D-Shifter. If you don't play Furniture Labyrinth, like if I build Labyrinth in Genesis, I will play Trap Labyrinth. I will not play Furniture Labyrinth. Furniture Labyrinth would care about D-Shifter. Trap Labyrinth does not. So yeah. Until D-Shifter goes up in like cost, like point cost, I don't think Eldritch is. I think Eldritch might have a losing matchup. I don't know. We'll see. Eldritch is still a strong deck. Anyway, all right, let's cut and do another 5-card hand here. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Going second, we have Fualos into evenly matched. So that's good. Going and then our 6-card draw will be Temple, which is not ideal, but it's actually not bad because by hard drawing Temple, if we get Man to resolve and we can get Verdict searched with the field spell, obviously, because terraforming into the field spell, then this is live, and then this makes this card live on your turn after your opponent sets up a board, and then you could break their board. So this is not the best hand, but it's very good, right? Going second, again, they have to have the Ash for the Fua, otherwise you're gonna draw like at least you're gonna draw at least twice, and this is like a great hand. And then your 7th draw will be Scorpion, which is okay. So this is a bit one of those situations where you draw too much engine, but you do have an evenly, and you'd have Fua. So Fua can make your opponent pass on a half board or take the challenge, and then you can evenly them. But yeah, you have a lot of engine and things you can do here. Let's rewind to let's see. So our top decks for this. Let's say I'm going first with this hand. All right. Let's go. We could do terraforming into treasures. Treasures set Apophis. We can normal summon man. Man, search out your verdict. Where is my verdict? This will search out your scorpion. Judge can search another man. Serpent special by banishing judge. Activate to get your Temple of the Kings. So even though we're kind of bricked in the sense that these 2 cards do nothing, yeah, with this summon this guy, summon tribute this guy, reset link rabbit, set anguish pattern. Yeah, and we go into their turn with 2 pops, omni negate, back row negate with board wipe, pop negate with a pop, summon with a pop, set another negate. Yeah, so we go into their turn with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pops, 2 negates, 3 negates. Despite bricking, quote unquote, going first with 2 dead cards, right? That's what we ended on. And if our man got ashed, we don't, instead of searching verdict, we just search well, we don't search verdict. We just have this board, right? Which is 1 fewer negate, but we still have 1, 2 negates and like 5 pops, right? So yeah, it's even with 2 dead draws for going first, quote unquote, you still have an amazing hand. Yeah, so Odion best deck. Obviously capable of winning a YCS. I really like this playstyle. Obviously, it's more you know, against like more vulnerable to hand traps than say a Trap Labyrinth or Trap Eldritch. But that's probably okay because again, a lot of people are like opting for like weird builds where like they're just like either raw engine or like they have a few hand traps, and the hand traps they have are like Ash and Bell. So a lot of people are maining Ash and Bell as their two primary like main hand traps. Ash is once per turn, so they Ash man or they Ash they can't Ash you twice, right? Bell doesn't hit anything in your deck, right? So you can literally ignore Bell. Ghost Ogre almost never comes up. Veiler, I guess if you're against Draco Toad, they can Veiler you, but I don't even recall like seeing Veiler by for a while. Um, and then obviously if they fool you, you can go to Divine Serpent plus Rabbit and set, just to get more interruptions and give them a draw two, or give them 0 draws and just end on Man, Scorpion, and like some back row, right? You're not required to like play Nafua if you don't want to. But yeah, this deck is amazing. A lot of people will ask, hey, why aren't you playing the Dominus cards? Why aren't you playing Dominus Purge, Songs of the Dominators, Dominus Impulse, Dominus Spiral? A few reasons. One, Dominus Songs of the Dominators and Dominus Spiral I ordered. They haven't arrived yet in the mail. Two, Dominus Impulse is actually troll. Like, I think at most you play once Dominus Impulse to search off Dominus Songs of the Dominators. Songs of the Dominators prevent you from using Anubis in hand, so that feels really bad. So you better hope you don't have Anubis as your only starter. Hand traps in general, very weak this format. Do almost nothing to Mitsu Yummy. They can play through all of it. I think board breakers are the way to go. Yeah. So I feel like Dominators, Songs of the Dominators, and like spy like the Dominus cards, they just don't do enough. Purge is really good against Draco Tail because you can purge like their Draco Tails traps and like the Ketu as well. But other than that, it's like I'd rather just have like breakers, honestly. Like breakers, I just feel like just do more. They're more reliable. And then you have Fua and Droll to fall back into in case like they try to do something degenerate like Mjolnir lock you or like whatever lock you. But this deck doesn't care about locks as much as other decks, so it's not even a big deal if they lock you. So anyway, yeah. So that was a deck profile. You got a introduction, you got a deck list, you got explanations, you got combo tutorials, you got sample hands. Yeah, I think if you take this deck the locals, you can also go undefeated. Like this is a very good deck. I've won a lot with it going like online playtesting. I've playtested this against my friend. It's very good. Yeah, it's just good deck. Hard to go wrong with it. Obviously I will continue to improve it. I'm gonna play more and more locals, and as decks pop up in locals, I might have to adapt, right? Like because like I said, no one at my locals is really playing K9 or Crystron. K9 pretty much died after the ban list at my locals anyway. Maybe some people will start playing it because of Anaheim. Who knows? But yeah, I think for now this is the deck I'm gonna run. I'll do some more playtesting and then I'll whatever. Maybe I'll update someday. Maybe I'll go to regionals and then we'll see how that goes. Like I don't know, but I'm more likely than not I'll probably come out with a Genesis deck profile in the near future. Depends. We'll see how things go. Life gets busy as well. I'm not guaranteed to stick to go to locals all the time. But yeah, I'm going to locals about twice a week. Maybe I'll skip one. But yeah, I might go a third time depending if they introduce Genesis or if there's like interesting prizing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot. Feel free to suggest anything in the comments. Yeah, talk about your experiences playing the man with the mark. Yeah, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.